doors open to me. We are commemorating a leader who has this level of knowledge. Truly, it's the biggest loss in our lives if we live our lives without delving into the knowledge of Amir al-Mu'mineen, being inspired by his amazing, unmatched wisdom. In our discussion this evening, I would like to share with you snippets from the wisdom and the knowledge of Amir al-Mu'mineen. You will find that in every field, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam has knowledge. He contributes to all the sciences that we are aware of. That's the caliber that we are talking about. We'll examine examples from the knowledge of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam about Allah and knowing Allah. How he describes the Prophet in psychology, in physics, in math, in astronomy, when it comes to giving you maw'adha and admonishments that truly soften your heart and make you spiritual. That's the spring of Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. Let's begin with Tawheed. How the Imam alayhi salam teaches us to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. No one describes Allah like Ali, because no one knows Allah like Ali. In every move that he made, in every word that he uttered, you find that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala captivated his heart. He was in love with his Creator. He dedicated everything for his Creator. If you want to worship Allah, if you want to see the beauty of Allah, just examine Ali ibn Abi Talib. Examine this beautiful creation of Allah, how he was inspired by his Lord, how he found it an honor to obey his Lord, and how he worshipped his Lord. Now, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, when it comes to describing Allah and his attributes, he has an ocean of knowledge to give us. I'll share with you one simple example. One day the Imam alayhi salam was sitting on the pulpit, giving advice to his community. فَقَالَ إِلَيْهِ رَجُلٌ. A man stood up and he told him, Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, بِمَا عَرَفْتَ رَبَّكَ. How did you come to know your Lord? Now the Imam alayhi salam always found unique, creative ways to remind people that God exists. How did you come to know that God exists? Listen to the response of Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. The Imam alayhi salam told him, عَرَفْتُ اللَّهَ بِفَسْخِ الْعَزَائِمْ وَنَقْضِ الْهِمَمْ. I came to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through فَسْخِ الْعَزَائِمْ. I make an intention, I plan, but my plan does not go through. I see that when I make a plan and I work hard for it, suddenly an obstacle pops out of nowhere. Therefore I knew أَنَّ الْمُدَبِّرَ غَيْرِي. I came to know that there is someone else higher than me who can override what I do, who's managing the entire universe. Think about it. We plan, governments plan, people plan, parties, companies. Sometimes things go as planned, and many times things do not go as planned. Because there's a higher power whose willpower is stronger than yours. That is an indication that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is managing your life, He's managing the planet, He's managing the entire universe. This is one unique way that the Imam alayhi salam teaches you to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Know He's there. Obstacles come up that you never expected. Sometimes you feel like someone pushed you on a path and you're amazed. How did I end up here? How was I protected from a dangerous path? That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guiding you, protecting you, or trying you. There's a convert from South Korea. His name is Kim Daoud. Now Daoud is his Muslim last name, but his first name is Kim. When Kim converted to the religion of Islam, they asked him, why did you convert? What is it that inspired you? This is very interesting. He said, a number of verses in the Holy Quran inspired me to convert to the religion of Islam. One of those verses is Surah Al-Anfal, verse 30. يَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. They plan and Allah plans. And Allah is the best of planners. He says, I would plan everything in my life. My job, my education, what I wanted to purchase and buy, I would plan everything. But many times, the plan would not go as expected. I would not achieve what I wanted. I would not fulfill my desires. So I realized that there is a higher power. Because then I would become depressed. Sometimes when you have a plan and you worked very hard for it, you get depressed when the plan does not follow through. He says, I would feel lonely. I would experience anxiety. Until one day I read this verse in the Holy Quran, that you plan and Allah plans, and Allah is the best of planners. I realized there's wisdom in me not fulfilling every desire that I have. This led me to the religion of Islam. Subhanallah. The Imam mentions 14 centuries ago that you can come to recognize Allah when your plans fail. And 14 centuries later, you have someone in South Korea who embraces the religion of Islam because his plans would fail and he came across this verse. That's the depth and the richness that you find in the knowledge of Amir al-Mu'mineen salawatullahi alayhi. Now let's come to how the Imam alayhi salam describes Rasulullah. The biggest inspiration for Imam Ali was Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. The biggest strength for Imam Ali alayhi salam was Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. And many times Imam Ali would grieve over the loss of Rasulullah. One of the common du'as that Imam Ali would make, especially saying, Allahumma inna nashku ilayka complaint. I didn't get my meal today. I didn't get my dream job. I don't have enough money for my dream vacation. Is that what the Imam complains from? The Imam says, Ya Allah, I complain to you. Not about this dunya. Not about my state. I complain to you because we have lost our Prophet. The Prophet is no longer with us. I miss Rasulullah. That's the love that Imam Ali alayhi salam had for Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Now I'll share with you two descriptions from the knowledge of Imam Ali alayhi salam about the Prophet. The Imam alayhi salam is addressing those who are obsessed with this dunya, those who are infatuated with materialism. The Imam has a beautiful message for us. The Imam says, look, who's the best creation of Allah? Who's God's best friend? God's best friend is Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. If there was any goodness in this materialistic world, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would have given this world to his best friend. But you find that Allah protected Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi from the materialism of this life. He lived a very humble life, like a slave at those times. How would a slave live? That's how the Prophet would live. He'd sit like a slave. He'd eat like a slave. And when they would tell him, Ya Rasulullah, why are you sitting like that? You know the way you sit in your tashahhud? Slaves would sit like that on the ground and eat. They would tell him, why do you sit like that? Sit nice, comfortably on a chair. Sit by crossing your legs. He would say, no. Who is a better slave than me? I am the slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The Imam alayhi salam says, look with your intellect. Didn't Allah honor Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi by keeping him away from the materialism of this world? This demonstrates to you that there's no goodness in the materialistic aspect of this world. Because if there was any goodness in it, Allah would have given it to his best friend. But he kept it away from his best friend. That's a beautiful perspective that Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam shares with us. And then when he describes the role of the Prophet, one of the most beautiful descriptions you find in Nahj al-Balagha about Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi is the following. طَبِيبٌ دَوَّارٌ بِطِبٍ. Now you want to describe the Prophet. How would you describe him? The Imam says he's a doctor who goes around with his medication and prescription. But what kind of a doctor is he? And what does he treat? Those whose hearts are blind, he would treat them. Those whose ears are deaf to the truth, to the haqq, to guidance, he would treat them. Those who have a disease in their hearts, he would treat them. That's Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. What a beautiful, fascinating description. When you read the descriptions of Imam Ali alayhi salam about the Prophet, you truly fall in love with Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Let's now transition to the sciences that we have from Amir al-Mu'mineen. And one of the important sciences that you find in Nahj al-Balagha is psychology. Allahu Akbar. You want to master in psychology? Look at Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. I'll share with you one very small passage from Nahj al-Balagha that demonstrates to us how the Imam alayhi salam had an expert command on psychology. At the Battle of Jamal, his son Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah, Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam had a son by the name of Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah. Now why is he called Ibn al-Hanafiyyah, even though he's the son of Amir al-Mu'mineen? Because his mother, As-Sayyida Khawla, came from the tribe of Bani Hanifa. So he was attributed to his mother. People could identify him that way. Now Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah didn't have the courage and the strength of Imam al-Hasan, Imam al-Hussein. He didn't have. He was brave, he was courageous, but not to that level. So at the Battle of Jamal, the Imam alayhi salam notices that his son Muhammad ibn Hanafiyyah is shaking. He's looking at tens of thousands of enemy soldiers, and that weakened